Hey everyone, it's Karen, and I've got with me a friend of mine named Deanna, and it turns out we're both from Michigan, but she's living there right now. Hi Deanna, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And what we wanted to share with you, I heard Deanna's story. She had struggled with a lot of brain fog and fatigue and all of that for how long? Can you tell me a little bit, Deanna? How long did you have like the brain fog and what was going on with you?
I had it, I would say probably about 2 years. Wasn't
Wow.
quite sure where it was coming from, but I did start experiencing it in about 2020. And then in 2022, I was getting ready to change jobs. I had been with my previous employer for 22 years,
Wow.
and I was, trying to rack my brain thinking of all my experiences that I could speak to when I'm in interviews. And I got really scared because I'm like, I can't even think of anything of my past experiences to share. And I've accomplished a lot. So I'm like, what is going on? Um, and so that really scared me. And at the same time, I was also just struggling with, I wouldn't call it depression, but just feeling very meh, like not
Yeah,
motivated.
not really
Um,
caring about anything.
yeah, exactly. Just I've always been a very motivated person, always kept myself very busy, but I found myself just not wanting to do anything,
Mm.
very unlike me, and also feeling very anxious, that which is something I have always struggled with anxiety in my life, but it was worse when I was younger, and I had kind of learned to just manage it myself with my mind and reassure myself that everything was fine. But as I was getting older, I just noticed that it was coming back, and I was getting easily overwhelmed about things that I never used to get overwhelmed about.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I was dealing with all these things. I didn't really do much about it. But then when it got to the point that I was trying to interview for a new job and I couldn't remember anything, like that was the final straw for me where I was like, okay, I have to do something about this.
And it's
And
really scary because especially with all the dementia going around, you think, am I there?
yes,
And
that's
the hormonal
exactly.
changes that women have. So what Deanna was talking about and how we met, and I just kind of jumped in because I wanted you guys to hear her story. Well, she was talking about in a group that we're both in that she had no motivation until she made some changes in her life, and it wasn't the changes that you would expect. So when you're talking about what's really interesting about what you're saying is a lot of us don't think about how our brain impacts the health of our brain, impacts our moods, our desire to live. And I don't mean in the suicidal sense of them, perhaps, but I just mean what we're going to do every day. It's like you said, nah. And then it is scary to try to write your resume and not remember your life.
Hmm. Exactly. Or when you're in interviews and you have to speak right on the spot, and I'm like, sounds like I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to make it up or something. So, mhm.
So what started you? So you're at this place, you're like, I got to do something.
Mhm.
How did you know what to do?
Well, I knew that I needed vitamins. Like I've always known that ensuring that you have good multivitamin of some sort is
Hmm.
very important.
Hmm.
And I just felt like I needed something like that because I wasn't taking any vitamins. I'll be honest, I'm really bad about taking something consistently. I don't take any medications, and thankfully. And so I've always kind of avoided the thought of having to take a vitamin every day. But I was raised by a mother who, was very big on having vitamins and multivitamins and supplements and things like that. So I also knew, being raised by my mother, that not all supplements are created equal. And
Hmm.
so I knew to look at a certain company that I knew provided very high quality supplements and that were very effective and like proven to be very effective. So, so I just went to their website and I looked up, like a multivitamin, and started taking a vitamin strip. It's a strip of vitamins that help with key things that your body needs. And within 2 weeks, I noticed a significant improvement. It was
Just 2 weeks?
unbelievable. Yes, 2 weeks.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was proud of myself for taking it consistently for 2 weeks because, again, that's not how how I operate usually. But I was so adamant that I needed to do something about it because I had gotten to the final breaking point where I'm like, I need to do something to change this. So I did, and I noticed a huge improvement. And I literally like aced my interview because I did do an interview before I started taking the supplement, and I was like dumb. Like I was like blah blah blah. Like I didn't really know what to say. I couldn't think straight. It was
Yeah, yeah.
very embarrassing. But then the job that I have now, I was able to ace that interview, and I totally equate it to those vitamin strips that I was taking.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
amazing. But what you bring up is so important because of the way our brains work, that
Mhm.
when we feeling foggy, it's not just like a little bit of spaciness. It impacts how we think, it impacts what we can remember, how we respond to people, the ability to regulate our own moods. And then the longer we do that, deal with that, the more we start to wonder if we've lost ourselves. So it's a
Right.
big deal.
It is a big deal. It is. And you
So
don't
2
really,
weeks, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you don't really realize how much it's impacting until you see the difference yourself or feel it. You're like, wow, like you often don't realize where you were at until you're out of that and you're looking back and you're
Mhm.
like, wow, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah. I'm back. I'm back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You got a lot of good energy now. So is that all that you did was like this vitamin strip, or did you do something else?
So I did that for a while.
Mhm.
I started the new job. I purposely sought out jobs that I knew would be full of very smart people that would challenge me, because I really wanted to go someplace that I could learn a lot. I manage a software development team,
Okay.
and so I did find a company that it's just full of very smart people, constantly being challenged. And we started working on a very big project that has like a $10 million value associated with it. And so everybody in
Wow.
the company, including the CEO, was watching. And it got very
Mm.
busy. And I just, again, started like, even though I felt a lot better than I did before I started taking the vitamin strip, I still was feeling like I would just like not know what to say. Like I still had some brain fog that was happening, and I could
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
And again, like the anxiety or feeling overwhelmed easily. I mean, I did have a lot going on, but I've always been able to really handle stressful
Hmm.
situations well, and I
Hmm.
just wasn't anymore. So
Right.
um, I did some more looking up and research on the same company that I get my vitamin strips from, and found a supplement for brain health and like that helps improve focus and mental clarity. And so I started taking that. And previously, I was like very overwhelmed, struggling, not sleeping well. A lot of things happening because of my job being so stressful and it being too challenging.
Hmm.
Even though I knew I could normally handle it, I just couldn't at that time. And as soon as I started taking that supplement within a few days, what a difference. I mean, not only did it help me focus and be able to like feel smart
Hmm.
again and feel like
Yeah.
I'm right up to where everybody else is at, but it also gave me intense, like my motivation back. It's crazy. Like I'm working and I can just get things done. And then after work, I often work 12-hour days. So I have
Wow.
very long, draining days. I have back to back meetings. I don't often get time for lunch. Like it's really demanding. And obviously, after that, I don't really feel like doing much normally. But ever since I've been on this brain supplement, I now am like, I get done with work after 12 hours. I can go up and make dinner. I'm like still cleaning stuff around. Like I'm still motivated to do things. Um, Night and day difference. I can't even say like it's like I can't even believe it myself.
Well, what's cool about that particular supplement that you're talking about is it actually increases the number of neural connections in your brain. So
Wow.
there's more to fire on.
Okay. That makes
But
sense.
but it does. But it also helps blood flow. And that's that sense of energy too, because brain working, my daughter's battling a concussion right now. And one
Mm,
of the things we've learned about that is when your brain is like struggling like that, working those neural, it's exercising, it's moving the brain. And if you've got something like a concussion, it's too much. So what you were getting back was that energy, that blood flow, and your brain feeling younger.
Oh, that's really good to know. I mean, it makes sense when you say it, when you explain that, because yeah, I feel like a new person. And I
Yeah.
know like even people at work that I'm working with can see the difference too. So yeah, it's really great. It makes me
And
see that.
software development, guys, is a ton of details. I worked a little bit with a
Mhm.
SaaS company, that's software as a service company, for a while. And I was not in the software development. I was more kind of like the marketing, and I did a little bit of that kind of stuff. But man, oh man, oh man, it's a lot of details and if thens and all that kind of stuff. So to be able to track that is really huge. So Deanna, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it's very powerful. I'm glad you got Deanna back.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes with us. And if you want to know what Deanna did, drop the word brain in the comments, and Deanna will reach out to you and I'll reach out to you. Thank you so much, guys. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.